Kennesaw State will become the newest FBS football program this year and will look to find the same type of success Jacksonville State and James Madison have found over the past few years. The Owls football program has become one of the most successful startup football programs in college football history and is less than a decade old, with their first season coming back in 2015. This is the story of Kennesaw State, college football's newest FBS program. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know which program you want to see make the FCS to FBS jump in the comments section below. Almost 3 decades ago, Kennesaw State was viewed as a commuter school that was just north of Atlanta and was viewed as an almost forgettable school. But when the 2010s came around, it was a school that had exploded, becoming a full-fledged university that was finding a lot of success in athletics. Vince Dooley is more known for taking Georgia to a national title as a coach, but became the first person to consider starting a college football program at Kennesaw State. Dooley was named the chairman of Kennesaw State's Football Exploratory Committee in December of 2009. That committee included 34 people and 4 subcommittees, and it was in charge of coming to a consensus on whether or not to pursue football. Dooley told the Bleacher Report back in 2015, "It took us about 7 months, but finally, with a document about an inch thick, the consensus was overwhelmingly that we recommended to the president that we move forward with starting a football program." But at the time, the country was in a recession after the 2008 financial crash, so some thought this was a crazy idea during a hard economic time. Dooley felt differently, saying, "This is a school that started out as a commuter school and then became a residential school. Now it's dormitories and a dining hall, and the next big step is giving a culture and something for people to be proud of with a mascot, their colors, and a fight song. Football does that more so than any other sport on campus." It was a logical next step for the university. But there were some major hurdles the school needed to get over. The Georgia Board of Regents. The Board of Regents had recently allowed Georgia State to start up a football program just as the economic crisis of 2008 began to take hold, and it requested that Kennesaw State find $5 to $10 million to cover startup costs before being approved. The board was a lot stricter due to the financial crisis. Fifth Third Bank helped fund the team and took the naming rights of the then 8,318-seat soccer-specific stadium that was going to be turned into the football stadium. With Fifth Third Bank's arrival, it took the stress off the committee and allowed them to build the program the right way. Dooley credits it for helping them lay the groundwork. The next step, finding the right head coach. Brian Bohannon played wide receiver at Georgia Tech under Paul Johnson and grew up in Macon, Georgia. He was a Georgia boy who spent most of his coaching career in the state besides his time at Gardner-Webb in 1996 and Navy from 2002 to 2007. He was also the son of legendary head coach Lloyd Bohannon. When he attended Georgia Tech, he had heard about Kennesaw State in the 90s, but really knew nothing about it. When it became apparent that the Owls were going to be starting a football program, Bohannon knew it was an opportunity he could not pass up. He told Bleacher Report, "As I'm hearing all these rumblings of a football starting at Kennesaw State, Chip Rogers, a former state senator, is coaching my 10-year-old son's basketball team. He said the team is going to watch Kennesaw play basketball, and I asked if I could go because I had never been over there. I said, listen, I think they're going to start football and I might be interested in the job." As an FCS team in the talent-rich Peach State, the administration and various committees knew they'd need to find a relentless worker who knew the recruiting grounds backwards and forwards. Bohannon knew the state, and it seemed like a perfect match. On March 24, 2013, just a month and change after the school announced football as a sport that will start in 2015, Bohannon was named its head coach. What's more, in an effort to provide stability, Williams signed Bohannon to a 7-year contract. The combination of Williams and Bohannon leading the charge was a perfect fit in the eyes of Dooley, with Dooley telling Bleacher Report, "Bohannon was the right man for the job, and he's done a terrific job in the 2 years of recruiting, organizing the staff. He's got an incredible enthusiasm. I've never seen 2 people, the athletic director and the football coach, with as much enthusiasm. In the first game, Vaughn will be running out first with the flag leading Brian, whose eyes will be huge. The staff attacked recruiting, not knowing the type of player they could land, but trying to do what they could. Quarterback Chandler Burks of nearby South Paulding High School became the first to commit to the Owls, a guy who was passionate about the program. Williams engaged other programs that recently started football, including Georgia State, Old Dominion, North Carolina Charlotte, and others to find out what was the right path to success. They were all in consensus. It takes partners, fans, and community to truly build a successful program, and Kennesaw State had all that being a suburb of Atlanta. They had the fertile recruiting grounds at Georgia, the community support, and filled the gaps left by Georgia State and Georgia Southern as an FCS school in Georgia and a member of the Big South. Kennesaw State found immediate success going 6-5 and 8-3 in their first 2 seasons, but 2017 would be the year the program would be put on the map. They lost their first game of the season to number 19 Samford, but proceeded to go on a 12-game win streak, winning the Big South Conference and getting revenge against number 14 Samford in the first round of the FCS playoffs. They followed that up with an upset win over number 3 Jacksonville State before losing 34-27 to number 6 Sam Houston State in the quarterfinals. They finished the year ranked in the top 10 and followed it up with an 11-2 season that saw them win their conference and once again make it to the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, this time losing to South Dakota State. They finished ranked in the top 5 as well. They would go 11-3 in 2019 and lost in the second round of the playoffs to number 3 Weber State before going 4-1 in 2020, with their lone loss coming to Monmouth and Long Branch, New Jersey. In 2021, they went 11-2, won their conference for the 3rd time, and made it to the second round of the FCS playoffs, losing to number 7 East Tennessee State 32-31 on the road. In 2022, they left the Big South Conference to join the A-Sun, having their first losing season in program history going 5-6, and during that season it was announced that they would be joining the FBS in 2024. In 2023, they finished 3-6 as an FCS independent and will join the Conference USA this year. Although they had stumbled the past few years, the Owls football program is the best startup football program in college football history, winning 48 games in the first 5 seasons. Kennesaw State is also the first startup program in college football history to post 3 consecutive 11-win seasons during its first 5 years of competition. The Owls have won 3 conference titles in their first 7 seasons and have 4 FCS playoff appearances. Brian Bohannon has a record of 71-30 as a head coach as well. When the Conference USA was losing members left and right due to conference realignment, the league seemed to be in a tough place. The league had seen the departure of Rice, UTSA, North Texas, UAB, Florida Atlantic, and Charlotte, who were all leaving to join the American Conference. They needed to stop the bleeding, so they added Liberty, New Mexico State, Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State. But the departures from the league were not over. A few months later, Old Dominion, Marshall, and Southern Miss all negotiated their way out of the conference, which was kind of ugly at the time. So they could all move to the Sun Belt. A league that was once at 14 members was back down to 9 at the time, which opened the door for Kennesaw State. The Owls accepted an invitation to jump from the A-Sun Conference to Conference USA after unanimous approval by the league's board of directors. In all, Kennesaw State has won 43 conference championships and 11 regular season titles among its women's and men's teams since 2005 as a member of the A-Sun. All that they need was approval by the Board of Regents of the University Systems of Georgia, which they would get in October of 2022. At the time, Kennesaw State boasted the largest enrollment at the FCS level with more than 43,000 students and had seen its athletics skyrocket in success since it began as an NAIA school in 1982. President Dr. Kathy Schweig spoke on the move, saying, "It's an exciting time for Kennesaw State, and this is an opportunity to continue the upward trajectory of athletic programs and academic mission of Kennesaw State. This step was not one taken lightly, but with thoughtful review and analysis of the benefit to elevate competition for our student athletes, the expanded opportunities for research and academic engagement, and the advancements of unique and exciting student experiences at Kennesaw State. We look forward to an exciting future of competition and collaboration as a member of the Conference USA." Since 2022, Kennesaw State became the 4th team to transition from the FCS to the FBS, joining James Madison, Sam Houston, and Jacksonville State. Delaware will become the 5th team in 2025. So how will Kennesaw State stack up against other teams regarding their 2024 season? Well, since the program's inception, they have played against 5 FBS teams. Their first matchup, they lost to Georgia State 24-20 in 2018, Kent State 26-23 in overtime in 2019, Georgia Tech 45-17 in 2021, Cincinnati 63-10 in 2022, and most recently 24-21 against Sam Houston last season. So they have a history of playing against lower FBS teams close on the road. But how about their athletic spending? According to the Knight Newhouse database, Kennesaw State's expense budget was $26.1 million in 2020, pre-COVID. About $8.7 million less than the median expense of $34.8 million for Conference USA. Scott Hirko wrote back in 2022, So with a primary shortfall, the biggest increase in cost would be, you guessed it, the cost of football. As the data shows, Kennesaw State's $5 million spent on football is a whopping $5.2 million less than the median $10.2 million spent per year in Conference USA. In other words, Kennesaw State will need to double its spending on football to remain competitive with the cost in the new conference. The cost of football for a median Conference USA school is 29% of all expenses. At Kennesaw State, football spending makes up about 19% of its expenses. The Owls will see more media rights revenue, make over $2.5 million compared to $430,000 at the FCS, but that will not bridge the gap enough. As of 2022, Kennesaw State has also underperformed in ticket sales, only making $480,000 compared to the Conference USA's median of $1.7 million. They will also need to raise their donation revenues, only making around $1 million a year, with the Conference USA median being about $3.2 million. Herco goes on to write, add up the new revenue from these three categories: $2.1 million from the media, $1.2 million from ticket sales, and $2.2 million donations, $5.5 million more dollars. This remains $3.2 million less than the total media expense of $8.7 million in Conference USA schools. So Kennesaw State has more work to do, or instead ask either students or institution to provide the remainder of the revenue necessary. Money does not equal success at the college football level, but it helps a lot more, especially when it comes to recruiting if you have better facilities and more to offer. But just because they have their work cut out for them does not mean it's doom and gloom for the Owls. The university has improved student fan attendance in 2023, setting a fifth third bank stadium record attendance during their season opener with 10,108 fans. More than half the crowd at the game were students, with over 5,415 students attending. Of those, about 2,000 were first-year students. This is an important aspect for the university, as according to them, research has shown that students who are engaged in campus life outside the classroom are more likely to find success in their courses. And Kennesaw State leaders have made it a priority to providing enriching experiences to encourage student involvement. But from the football standpoint, it could build support for the program and lead to future donations as their young football program develops its legacy. They also signed their best recruiting class in program history, adding 15 players during the early signing period, 6 of which were 3-star recruits or higher. The group marked the 11th recruiting class in Owls history and is Kennesaw State's first as a member of the Conference USA. The offensive line was a top priority for the Owls during the early signing period. Kennesaw State signed 7 offensive linemen, the most of any position group in the recruiting class. The average height and weight of this position group is 6'5", 300 pounds. Coach Bohannon told the media, "We got off to a great start with this class and got a bunch of guys that want to come make history as we move into the FBS. All of these guys are excited about the opportunity to do something special here at Kennesaw State." They also added Donovan Westermoreland from South Carolina and Christian Moss from Virginia Tech through the transfer portal. Will Kennesaw State set the college football world on fire during their first season in the FBS, like James Madison did in 2022 and Jacksonville State did in 2023? Probably not. But this is a young football program that is just under a decade old and has found a lot of success at the FCS level when no one thought they could. I would not count them out. What do you think? Will Kennesaw State find success at the FBS level? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.